Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome back. Welcome to. My name is Joe Josh. I go by iChart Daily. Follow me on X, the iChart Daily, if you're looking for the latest and greatest and yada yada yada. No news. You're not getting any news on this channel, cuzzy. Say it with me. F the news. Trust the charts. Not financial advice, but what are we gonna do? We're gonna buy because Michael Saylor says he's buying, and then we're gonna sell because the Japanese market's gonna collapse, and then we're gonna buy because of this, and then we're gonna sell because of that, and we're gonna buy because of this and sell because of that. No, no, no. You are here watching this video because you're tired of the bull nonsense, bro. You're tired of it. You're tired of seeing I was wrong. I thought we were going to go to 200,000. I was wrong. I thought we were going to see $300 XRP. Shocked face emojis pointing to words on a thumbnail. You're not going to get it here, bro. And I get it. People don't want to hear that squiggly lines on a screen are predicting and helping me understand what billions and billions of dollars is moving around the markets. I get it. People don't want to hear it. But as you stick around, cuzzy, the smoke starts clearing and you start turning into that person. I'm like numb to the outside world, bro. I'm honestly numb. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone tweets. I don't care what news article you just posted. What are the indicators telling me? Where is their support resistance? Are there any trends in the past that can help us identify what the hell is going on now? So in today's video, I like to wing it. I like to wing it and show you guys once again a window to my thought process. This stuff is not planned, bro. Yes, I'm looking at the charts all day, every day, but like me sitting here right now, I'm like, I just want to talk. I want to talk and I want to tell people what I'm seeing. Where am I setting alerts? Is there anything that I noticed in the past that could once again potentially help us in the future? And once again, this is my game plan. Okay? Me doing a technical analysis, financial strategy for you is totally different. And what I mean by that, before I really get into it, I don't want to make this intro too long. I've been, let's just say, hypothetically buying and charting crypto since like 2015, 16, 17. So my bags might be different than your bags. I also swing trade, and I've been telling my community there's videos of me saying this. 17, 5, 15, 5, 13, 5 with the little 2, 3x leverage never hurt nobody, cuz you know what I'm saying? And these people are up a cool 5 to 600%. And when you have a skill set like mine, and this is why I'm doing these one-on-one sessions with everyone, because I'm not trying to teach you how to become a day trader. No one has time for that, bro. Seriously. Unless you're already a swing trader and you know technical analysis and you're just trying to fine tune it on shorter time frames, that's different. But if you already have like a 9 to 5 career, family, you're doing what you gotta do, and you're just once again trying to see through the nonsense and look at longer time frames like a weekly and a monthly and have just a simple setup on your computer so you can come home and be like, yeah, Bitcoin still looks like poop. And how long? Just identifying simple trends. That's what the one-on-ones are for. So, let me set myself up in the chair because we got a lot to talk about. So, first things first, I use certain indicators to once again give me a visual. That's all I'm looking to do. Instead of looking at this number saying 92,029 and then going to news articles and saying, well, is it a good time to buy now? Is it a bad time to buy now? Is it a good time to dollar cost average now? Is it a good time to open up a short now? All of those questions, I go to squiggly lines to help me understand momentum. Momentum where to. If something is overbought, I want to know where's there's resistance. If something is oversold, I want to know where is there support. Are the indicators showing bullish or bearish structure at those levels? Is there a potential for a top to be forming, a bottom to be forming, etc., etc., etc. That's what my brain is constantly going through. And my brain, at this point in my life, 41 with 3 kids, and there are 1,000 things going on with sports and all over the place. And once again, my bags are at a point where I am not day trading. I'm barely swing trading at this point, right? 17.5, 15.5, 13.5, profit at 90, 100, 110, 120. Cool as ice, baby. I, myself, am now thinking more bearish because I'm looking at a monthly and a 2-month chart, and I'm like, dude, if we're bearish for the next 2 to 400 days, I don't care about the intraday 92,000 to 100 to 110, and then we see rejection, and then we come back down and form a lower low. I'm trying to teach like the 101 technical analysis in this video. And as of right now, we look bearish. It's not my opinion. This is what I mean by identifying certain things in the past that will help you understand what's happening in the future. And if a chart has 12, 13 years of data of death crosses, golden crosses using certain levels of support, resistance, you could identify trends. And if you could identify a trend, you could identify where to set alerts and what did the price action do the last time this happened. So, just to go over very simply, longer time frames have less fake outs. If you're new to the game, cuzzy, you should not be looking at an hourly or a 5-minute chart and trying to swing trade and day trade, because for the past 2-3 years we've been bullish. Since literally November 2022, we have been in a bull market. And the saying where everyone's right in a bull market, because if you buy and the swing, let me just break it down, right? Each swing has made a higher low and a higher high since that day I told you, November 7th, 2022. So it doesn't matter if you bought something overbought and sold it oversold and did the total opposite of what you're supposed to do. You still look like a genius as long as you didn't die and you just held the coin. Literally. Close my eyes from this period, any altcoin that was like, yeah, bro, I bought here and I'm up. Yeah, bro, I bought here and I'm up. Yeah, bro, I bought here and I'm up. Yeah, bro, I bought here. Right? I bought at 80,000 and I was still up money. Now my mindset is changing, and I'm changing more bearish because of, I keep saying it over and over, the monthly and the 2-month MACD, which is a momentum indicator, is turning more bearish. So now that the sentiment is looking the opposite, and we could potentially look like this now. What I did just there was I held Alt and I pressed I and it inverts the chart. My point is the visual. Now it matters where you buy and sell, cuzzy. Now it matters how long you are looking to hold this coin. Now it matters how much leverage you're using and your liquidation price. Because now, let's just say these numbers are 126 to the 90 where we are now. You can have a dead cat bounce. We could go up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 30%. But if your steps are going down, you need to be able to identify the trend. Where's their potential resistance? Are you going to grab your huevos and actually take the profit at the right time, or are you going to chase green candles and have your emotions take over once again? Because during a bear market, what that means is the swings or the waves that I like to catch on the longer time frames now continuously break down. And the lows that you thought were a good time to buy because you went up, right? Let's just say you did go up 14%, but now you're negative, right? And then you buy again, and then it goes back up. It doesn't make a higher high, and then goes down and makes another lower low, and another lower low, and another lower low. So the whole point, Alt I to inverse it, is to identify that poo-poo's hitting the fan. Then you want to identify how long. And once again, all I'm looking at is when something happened in the past, what did the price do thereafter? And can that, and is it possible to make an argument that this can happen again? Okay, we are now one candle into the death cross. These are lagging indicators. So the momentum of 126 to 89 has already happened, which is why this candle is printing now, which is why you can't trade with a monthly or 2-month time frame, but you use it as clarity to help you understand that on the shorter time frames, when we have those pumps, and we will have a pump soon, right? We just need to find support, right? And then we'll go into that into the later part of the video, what I'm looking at to see if and when we do have the dead cat bounce, right? Because we we broke down from a falling wedge that usually breaks up. That's how bearish the longer time frames are, and we broke from 99 to 87,000. So once again, when you think something bullish is going to play out on the shorter time frames, but that monthly and 2-month are still causing more negativity, bearish, gravital pull. That's what I mean. Like it trumps the shorter time frames. Nothing bullish happens until we will go into the mid time frames. But let's go back to this. So we just death cross, right? That is one visual to help you understand momentum. Then we look at the RSI and we understand the sections, right? We have section A plus, which is above the 70, and how the price action moved when it was there. Then we have section A, which still remains bullish, but you still want to see how the price action acted once we broke in from one into another. And then you have section B, which we've only dipped our toes in once, twice. You could kind of consider that, and then 3 times here. And then you want to see what happened with price action here. And very simply put, blood once we broke in the 70. It confirmed, it was the second confirmation that we are in bearish times. Not mentioning what's happening with Japan, not mentioning what's happening in, I don't even want to start mentioning other places because I don't want this channel to get banned again. But things happening in the world that are bad, that can cause fear, right? I say it to everyone, and it's the damn truth, bro. I can't go on CNBC and say the stuff that I've been saying for the past month or two. We're getting bearish divergence, and the price is making higher highs, and there's a gap on the AMD longer time frame, and gaps usually get filled. People would be deers in headlights. They would have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, and they think it's honestly like witchcraft. It's like there's no way that you're looking at waves and lines and it's predicting billions to trillions of dollars, but it does. So what my point is, you could clearly see once we went from the 70 down to the 50, we had blood. And then what I do is I confluence that with the death cross. And if I say, okay, the stochastic RSI was also below the 50 every single time. So if you could confluence those 3 indicators to help you understand that death cross break below and below the 50, and the price went down, way down. Right, 20,000 to 6,000, and then officially when we broke here, it was like this 6,000 to 11,000, and it went all the way down to 3. So this is the point of me saying a lot of day traders are going to make a lot of money during the green months, but a lot of sheep and people that have no idea what's going on are going to be fooled by the news, because when they see Bitcoin go up 45% for the month, your emotions are going to take over. You're not going to trust the chart and understand that it's still in a bearish structure and the RSI is still below the moving average and the stochastic RSI is still below the 20 line, and you're going to think that the news is right because Trump's coming out with the US Reserve and just passed the bill. And I don't justify price action with news in my trading bags. You want to hold bags for the next 10, 20 years? And yes, I agree. Holding bags for the entire time is the best case scenario, because regardless of an 80% correction, 80% correction, 78% correction, the asset is still up 2 point something million percent. What I am looking to do, what I'm looking to help you do, is to once again take profit on the way up, because eventually your portfolio, if it's not at the position what I'm talking about right now, if your position is, let's just say, 6 figures and above, and you take a 50 to 60% hit, do you have that money to put back in dollar cost average? Or would it have been smart to not go full out and full in, but like when I say I'm taking profit, you have to look yourself in the mirror and come to an agreement. What am I looking to keep in if there's a risk of 60 to 70% on the table? And how much cash reserve do I want to have so that I could buy Bitcoin at major levels, right? And you don't got to go crazy. Once again, monthly chart. You could have did, like 100,000. You could do 92,000, 82,000, 75,000. Call it a day. You're not dollar cost averaging anywhere from 40%, and then you keep 20, 30% on the side. Once again, you never go fully in, you never go fully out. When you see the waves forming on longer time frames, this is when, right, when your MACD, like I told you, the total opposite. You see your volume coming down, you see a death cross. Your RSI is not only above the moving average, but above the 50 line, and you have room to grow. This is when I want to be like 70 to 90% in, and you're stochastic above, right, the 50. You have 1, 2, 3 trigger points, confluence visuals to help you understand, regardless of what the news was telling you on this day. And I'll remind you, just in case you forgot, but Jamie, I'm going to get banned. I'm going to get banned, and that's the whole point. But there are people that work for banks that rhyme with Chase, and they were telling you that Bitcoin was a scam and not to buy it. And they were telling their bankers that if anyone recommended it to any one of their clients, they were going to get fired. And that causes fear because you trust these people, right? I am trying to help you trust charts over people. Now that we have AI and the internet, it's like it's very confusing to me how they allow people to continuously lie, and we keep these people in powerful positions, regardless of the shoe that fits. If it's a politician or someone of a CEO or influencer, whatever it is. Like, how many times does someone have to lie to you in order for you to just shut off that avenue of your life? Stick around, because the smoke will clear once you continue to see the trigger points. And once again, the trigger points is golden crosses and death crosses. Where are they? Are they above the zero line, below the zero line, right? Above meaning in the green, below meaning in the red. Where's the RSI? Is it above the moving average? Is it below the moving average? Where is it above the moving average? Meaning what section? Is it like this right here? It's above the moving average, but it's in section A. Right here, it's still above the moving average, but it's in section A plus, right? Here, it's above the moving average, but it's below the 50, so it's in section B. Different branches out, it branches out into different answers. And what you're trying to do is put the visuals together to figure out if you have a higher probability of going up or higher probability of going down. And then once you figure out if you have a higher probability of going up, you're trying to figure out how much room do we have to grow until we're extremely overbought, and overbought where? And then if you're bearish, you're trying to figure out how much room do we have to bleed, and bleed where until we're extremely oversold, based off of previous history. So, to give you a real life example, is you look at an RSI that tells you when something is overbought, oversold. Yes, this is oversold. Yes, this is overbought. Yes, the 50 is oversold in a continuation pattern, but you need to look at a chart and understand what it's saying first. And you could clearly see that this is where Bitcoin is oversold. This, well, technically, is where Bitcoin is extremely overbought. As of right now, the trend's your friend till the end. The trend changed. This is the first time in Bitcoin's history since 2012 that Bitcoin did not break above the 75 and go to parabolic levels of 88 to 94. We could get into a totally different argument on what does that mean, potentially. Speculation, because nothing's happened yet. Could it be the end of the 4-year cycle? Because of other adoption and things that could happen and use cases. We shall see. My point of me even mentioning this, is this is where I'm going to trust to buy more. When I say I want to be more in the asset than cash, it's at this level. When I want to be a little bit more in cash than the asset, it's around this level. Well, technically around this level now, right? And this is what I mean by just clearly looking at a chart and understanding that I'm not going to be fooled by the nonsense. Understanding that this is a symmetrical triangle. The symmetrical triangle has a measured move. Is the measured move over yet? Right? From here to here. We go back to that 50 line like we did here. Another visual that is helping me understand that maybe we could see some stoppage around this level. One, visually the candles, right? 90,000. Let's just say the bottom of the wicks is 88, and then it's 92, right? And then I turn on my beautiful 11, 21-day moving average, and not that it's stopping there. Has it stopped there in the past? Where were the indicators when that happened? And are the same things happening again? If you could make that argument, then you can make an argument that maybe this is the short-term bottom, right? And my next video that I'm going to make, it's going to take me a while to do because I actually have to do some work this time. It's not like I could just wing it and go over my thought process. It's finding the next coin the next coins that have the highest potential to pump the most. Do you know what's going to help me find those answers? Put it in the comments if you do. It's the coin versus the Bitcoin chart. Because once again, if your coin versus the Bitcoin chart is pumping, one, it'll help that coin during the bear market because it'll actually keep it flat compared to poo-pooing the bed and going down 70 to 90%. And when Bitcoin recovers, your coin versus Bitcoin chart will be pumping, and then your coin versus the dollar chart will have a better ROI than a coin that looks good versus the dollar. It looks all right, but still remains bearish versus Bitcoin because that coin will have more downside than upside on the horizon. So that's my next video and goal. But back to this monthly chart, right? So we're at the 21-day moving average. Whoop-de-doo. Has it used it in the past? Technically, we've used the 11 around the 21. We've used 11 around the 21. We've used the 21, we've used the 11 and 21, we've used the 11 and 21, we've used the 11 21, we've used the 11, and then during this capitulation we used the 11 and went to the 21, and then we used the 11. So yes, there's multiple multiple touch points to make an argument that we could at least start seeing what's going on with the daily, 2-day, 3-day, 4-day time frame to see if we're getting any type of hidden bullish divergence to help us understand that this short-term bottom has stopped, the bleeding has stopped, and then we could start looking at where we could go back to. As of right now, once again, we still remain very bearish because the longer time frame that shows us that, I mean, dude, once this death crosses, and once this RSI breaks from above the 70 to below, once again, section A plus to A, once this stochastic RSI breaks from above the 80 and heads down, you have a huge 2-month red candle. Best buying opportunity ever, right? Because once again, you want to buy a coin that's up 4.7 million% in 13 years. When it's down 50 to 70%, giving you the best ROI for the next 4-year cycle. But let's look at the charts because it's not my opinion, right? So 2-month candle, whoopee, whoopee, whoopee. We went from 37 to 16. Whoop, I don't even know why I'm saying that, but 6,000 to 3,200, and then, 400 down to 104. So nothing to play with the last time this stuff happened. And did we break below the squiggly lines on this time frame? Yes. So to assume that us going down to the 81,000 could be the bottom, it's like, even 71 to 81,000, is that the bottom? We shall see. I made in a previous video that, if this is, turn this off. Let's just chat, right? Let's just chat. So once again, one shoulder, the head. We're getting bearish divergence showing me that these levels are pretty much off the table. But can we come down to this 80,000? I mean, it sounds crazy if we don't stop here at this 92, but it's on the table, bro. It's really on the table. Set an alert here at these levels of 91 to 88,000. And if we don't get like one more little dead cat bounce here back to this level of 107, and we just fall straight through to the 77 to the 70,000, that's where I could see some major support. And then once again, I said I'm calling it now months in advance. This would come down to here. We'd fill these levels here of liquidity. Then we'd have that major pop back up from 75,000 to 111,000 back to these liquidity levels here. But during this time, if Bitcoin does, like I said early in the video, if it does, come on, bro, 30 to 40%, like I literally said it did back here in these months, right? All right, something like this, 79%. All right, this one, 51%. This one, 42%. But once again, lower highs, right? So here we are. We could pop up 40 to 50%. Bitcoin's dominance is falling at that time, fueling the argument I made before about the coin that has the best coin versus Bitcoin chart will pump hard when Bitcoin does 40% in, 2 months, going from January to March, because March, I keep saying it, it's tax season. If your portfolio just went down 40% and you were looking to take profit, I'm going to end the video with this. If your portfolio was up, all right, let's just say you bought around here and you were around here. Let's just play at, we're at a bar. Let's just say you're up 350% and then you saw your position. You were about to take profit. You were going to do something with the money. Buy money, or whatever it is, right? Even if it was just a book profit. Like I've been saying for over a year that Joe's been saying that we look bearish and we should take profit and blah, 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 blah. We're overextended. Bearish divergence. And you didn't. And then your position goes down, right? You were up 350, now you're up 220, and the position is down 31%. What happens is psychologically, when the position goes back up, that's why you say, you know what, dude, if it goes back up and I could make that 300%, 300 something percent, I'm out. or at least I'm taking profit. I'm taking 25% off the top, 10% off the top, 30% off the top. I'm going to let the rest ride. No one's ever going to say poo-poo to you about taking profit. And then once again, at that point, we go back up. If we see resistance at these levels, then this reminds me of a head and shoulders, and this being your neckline, showing me that this isn't the bottom. This is just the start of something really bad. And then you could see like June, July, August, September, we come back to these levels here, right here to 50 to 60,000. At that point, you're looking at a cool 50 to 60%, and then you're like, but Joe, I thought you said it's an 80% correction. But it's like, it's diminishing returns and diminishing bear markets every time because of the news and the adoption of the coin. But yes, the 4-year cycle still remains intact. Yes, we are still making higher lows and higher highs each 4-year cycle. My only concern is the first time we don't make the higher high and we make the same high. That's it. Love you guys. Appreciate the support. Any comments, questions, concerns, leave it in the comment section. If you were around when I've been saying for the past couple of months that we were forming symmetrical triangles, that we were getting hidden bearish divergence on indicators for the last, literally almost a year, leave it in the comments section. Show some love. Help me get to as many people as I can, because once again, the more people that are educated make me happy. That's what it is. It makes me very happy when people text me and said, I'm so happy we have cash on the side. I'm happy we made the right decision. I see through the nonsense now. You're my only news. F the news, yada, yada, yada. Enjoy the day.